We have an interesting guest for you guys right now. His name is Kamau, and he is the comedian doing the one-man show, the Kamau, Ending Racism in About an Hour, which sounds ambitious. Welcome to the Young Turks.
Hello.
All right, so talk to me. How are you going to end racism in an hour? That sounds tough.
Well, first of all, it's pronounced Kamau, so you've already been a little bit racist already. So.
Kamau.
But I'm going to forgive you. We both got difficult to pronounce names, so
okay.
I understand.
Oh, yeah? Okay, go ahead. Pronounce my whole name. I dare you.
Jink, and I'm tapping out.
All right, good.
That's a part of ending racism is being honest with yourself.
All right.
to know when you're in over your head, and to not just stumble ahead bravely and ignorantly.
All right. Well, I failed that one, but you didn't. So.
No. But see, here's the thing. We're talking about it, which is that's actually a big part of the show. Like, I have this offer with my show, the Kamau Bell Curve, Ending Racism in About an Hour, where if you bring a friend of a different race, you get in 2 for 1.
I was going to ask you about that. Is that for real?
That's absolutely for real. People always ask that. I would not lie to you. That would be a bad part of ending racism if I lied right off the top.
All right. Well, let me ask you this: what if me, JR, and Jesus came? We're all 3 different races. Do we get in for 1 or?
It's 2 for 1, but it's not 3 for 9. I try to. What do you need from me?
All right. Well, I'm legendarily cheap, so I was just trying to see how many guys we can get in.
Well, for you 3, yes, I'll make an exception because, again, a part of ending racism is being flexible.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So how do you end racism in an hour? How does that work?
Well, the big part of it is actually trying to get everybody in the same room together. Because as a performer, I've done a lot of shows where, like, I've always talked about race a lot in my act, and there will be times where you're talking in front of an all-white, I'll be talking in front of an all-white audience, and it becomes less a show and more of court testimony. And they sit there going, I don't know about this Negro. And and you do a show in front of all black people, and it's like all group agreement. And I feel like if we're all in the same room together, people can see different reactions happen around the same thing, which I think is a big part of it, is like learning that your perspective is not the only perspective.
Kamau, let me ask you a question.
Yes,
that's what I do.
And I hope to answer them.
First of all,
it's going well so far.
You just said Negro, right? But do you use
Yes.
the other N-word in your act?
I have a hard problem saying the N-word, but yes, I do use the other N-meat I do use in my act.
Okay, all right. And do you use that more or less depending on if the crowd is white or black or mixed, or absolutely no?
I think I use it the exact same number of times every show.
All right.
I don't think the show is written, but it's also very spontaneous. But it's also there's really a thing I'm trying to get across. And as much as I will improv in the moment, I don't use the N-word. I don't rhyme it like a rapper, so I don't use it. I'm not using it a lot. But there are certain things where I use it to make a point. And so there's a couple things in the show where I use it to make a specific point, so that I wouldn't change it. It's not a part of my. I'll put it this way: I use the N-word specifically when I want to use it. It's not a part of my daily vernacular. I don't walk around calling my friends N's, which sounds ridiculous. Although I might call my friends N's because that sounds really funny. But I don't walk around using the N-bomb regularly. So when I use it in my act, I'm using it for a reason.
No, I hear you on that. And look, the whole thing is goofy. And that's part of the reason why it's funny, right?
Well, that's the thing. I think when we talk about race a lot, we're usually yelling at each other, thanks to the Tea Party. So, and I think a lot of us who are on the same side sometimes have different perspectives, even though we're on the same side. But we're afraid to bring up race because we're afraid it's going to start a fight. So we just ignore a lot of things that are pretty obvious, And so part of the show is that I can do it humorously, and then the great thing is people walk out talking about the show, and I will get emails from people going, I don't agree with that one thing you said. Well, great, that's part of the show. Disagree. I'm not going to change it, but good for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, Eric Holder, our Attorney General, challenged all of us to talk about it, not to get scared, but people do get scared. Look, especially people who don't know what words to use. Look, I'll make it personal. I didn't realize Hispanic was no-go until like last week. It turns out that that's not cool anymore. And then,
and I think that the interesting thing to note is that you have to be, in this country, you have to be fluid about everything. And I think some people in this country have defined America as one thing, and America's not ever been one thing. It's always changed. And so you have to be willing to go, oh, Hispanic's not in anymore. I will try to stop using it, and if I use it incorrectly, I will apologize. Like as opposed to people go, they keep changing the words. Like I think like black people are big on we like to redefine ourselves every few generations to get further and further away from the N-bomb.
Right. I think people have to be open both ways, and I think that's right. I think that makes sense. Although I haven't seen people start calling it the H word yet, so that'll be interesting when that
yes,
happens.
that's coming.
Yeah.
That'll be and it's really bad.
And one more thing on this, because you used the word Negro before.
Yes,
one of my favorite T-shirts I ever saw in Miami when I lived down there was a black guy wearing a T-shirt that said 100% Negro. Okay, and I thought that was badass, right?
Yes.
But you see, white people get scared. They're like, I don't know, can I say Negro? Can I not say Negro? Can I say colored person? I'm not sure what I can say. And they freeze
I would
up.
steer clear of colored person. I think that one went out in like 1958. I think we put that in the offensive Hall of Fame. But no, I think that's everybody has a different set of priorities in which ways in which to live their life. And like I have a T-shirt that I used to wear a lot that said proud field Negro, which is most people don't know what it is, but people who do get really scared, so I learned not to wear it at parks.
That sounds like a kind of shirt that they would have on Boondocks.
Exactly, and I'm probably 5% Boondocks, so in my DNA. But I think that those things do change, and you have to be prepared for the change. And I think that everybody has different ways. The thing about America is that America has spent a lot of time defining everyone. Well, I know when I say America, I mean white people. The white ruling class has spent a lot of time defining everyone else. And now, in the last 50 years or so, people have started to want to define themselves. And that gets confusing for people in the ruling class, and it's just like, yeah, it's okay if it's confusing.
Yeah, it is. And I think both sides have to be open. One, like, for example, in that scenario, white people have to be open, hey, look, and black people, to saying, hey, maybe Hispanic's not right anymore, and let's just switch to Latino, right? But on the other hand, you also have to give a little bit of a pass to people who use the wrong word sometimes, right?
Well, no,
so like the old school guys, they're still using colored guy and Oriental and the Chinaman. And you gotta be like, no, wait, not Chinaman anymore. It's just
exactly. And I think, well, the interesting thing is a lot of this is based on context and usage. I mean, like the context. Well, no, it's based on context and how it's being said. If someone screams across the street, "Hey, Chinaman!" you can't necessarily go, I think they're confused. I mean, you can tell when it's a slur and when it's someone who needs to be educated. There's a difference. You can tell when you need to go, excuse me, let me explain, and when you need to run the other direction.
Right, like the story we did on Arizona today where guy shot his neighbor and called him a wetback first. Well, he seems to have had hostile intentions.
Yeah, exactly. I bet the guy who got shot was less offended about the wetback thing than the being shot thing.
That's probably a very good point.
I mean, currently Arizona's making the South look like the North.
That's true.
And the North look like Canada.
So now I want to get to some parts of your show which I find interesting because I'm very curious as to what you say about them. We're talking to Kamau Bell. His show is a one-man show. It's called the Kamau Bell Curve, Ending Racism in About an Hour. In the show, you talk about, it appears, The Blind Side, Avatar, Precious. We had a lot of discussions about Blind Side. What are your thoughts on that movie?
Interestingly, once we elected the first black president, which, yay, let me just say that before I keep talking, yay, we instantly there's this thing that went around the media of post-racial America. And if anything, I feel like it's become pre-apocalyptic America. And one thing about, like, The Blind Side is a very old school, I always be clear, I'm not criticizing the true story of the dude who got adopted by the family and is now in the NFL. That's a great story. But the way in which it's told is the same white savior story that we've had, since the dawn of America. Like, there's a really one-sided portrayal of that story of, of the woman. I mean, she's doing everything for him. She's teaching him to read. She's coaching him in football, and it really puts him in the standpoint of, like, he's almost animalistic. And I think that portrayal is really frustrating, especially when you're being sold the idea of post-racial America. And and then it's really confusing. And then what happens? The movie comes out, and then Sandra Bullock ends up on the cover of People magazine with a black baby. It's like, what? She had such a good time on The Blind Side, she wanted to take one home. I don't understand. It's just like a really. That movie does not tell me she's going to be a good parent for a black kid.
Wow, that's interesting. Except for that last part, because I have no idea what kind of a parent she'll be. Those are all the things we discuss on the show. You know,
Yeah, I don't have any idea how she's going to be either as a parent. I think, first of all, she's going to be a well-moneyed, rich parent, which is good for a kid. But I think it just sort of I have a lot of friends in the transracial adoptee community, which is a real community that has a lot of people who are really nervous about that, especially when the first shot of Sandra Bullock is on the cover of People magazine.
That's interesting. Why are they nervous about that?
Because what it does, it sort of is objectifying of the baby. And since she adopted this baby, but this baby has a whole family history that she doesn't actually own. It's not the same as posing on the cover of People magazine with a baby you made, where you can treat your baby however you want. You have to be, when you adopt transracially, you have to be very aware that there's a whole history of this child that you don't have that you don't own. And that's hilarious. Much more like that'll be in the show.
Okay. Well, but look, I'm asking you about serious stuff. I get that the show is comedy, but okay. How about Avatar? You think they were racial issues there?
I mean, it was such. I sort of was badgered into going seeing it. I'm okay with sci-fi. I like it every now and again. I'm not a sci-fi geek. But to go see that movie and to hear that it took James Cameron 10 years to write the script, and you go, what, did he just see Dances with Wolves recently? Did he just now get The Last Samurai? It's the same story of the white guy who hangs out with the colored people and learns their stuff better than they know their stuff.
I thought we weren't supposed to use colored people. Is it okay when they're blue?
Yes. But they literally were colored people. They literally were. I mean, it's the same story. Like, when Tom Cruise does The Last Samurai and he hangs out with the samurais for 2 weeks and goes, man, I learned how to be a samurai better than all of you. I'm the best samurai ever. That is weird. I guess it's because I'm a white male. When Kevin Costner goes and hangs out with the Indians, wow, I have become the best Native American warrior of all time. And now it's this, on another planet, it's this metaphor for oppression that uses the same old oppression story, That
is very interesting perspective. It really is.
He becomes the champion of the blue people, even though he's only been there for 3 months.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I would like to think he had to grow there for at least a year, but no, 3 months, I'm just good at it. I guess it's because I'm white male. I don't know. I'm white on the inside. I'm blue on the outside, but I'm white on the inside.
You could even put another angle on it. I mean, he was destined to be their leader, apparently.
Yeah, the destined to be the leader of the blue people was a white guy, and even the way that which the people in the movie treat him, like he lands there, they know he's a white guy. They go, every white guy who's ever come through here has been distrustworthy, but since you're here, we're going to teach you all our stuff. It's just like, no, I don't think that's a good. Learn from the people around the world. It's not good when you teach white men all your stuff.
Well, of course, in the real world, when you taught in the days when the Native Americans, for example, taught the white men the things they know, that didn't work out that well for them.
Exactly. And I think it's almost like James Cameron revisionist history. Like it helps to make those stories sound more realistic if this, because we see it in 3D,
I hear you. Although, on both Blindside and Avatar, on a micro level, I think they meant well, okay? On a macro level, they're missing the bigger picture that causes the problematic theme that you're talking about. But,
well, I think James Cameron, just like George Lucas, is great at special effects and epic movie making, but they're not great screenwriters, and they often screw it up really badly.
All right. Finally, I want to ask you about Tyler Perry, because apparently you take a couple of shots at him, too. Why is that?
Shots sounds like I'm not committed to it. I try to... Tyler Perry is problematic because I'm not... Again, it's hard to be... I try to be pretty nuanced in the show, and I support the fact that he's a dude who went from zero to Hollywood mogul, all on the strength of his own work, Like Hollywood came to him and said, "Can we give you money to make movies so we can make money?" And yet, but the problem is the stuff he turns out is so broad. It's so middle of the road, and it's so you don't have to watch. I haven't even watched any of his TV shows. Like I'll flip past TBS and they'll show a commercial for like the Meet the Pains or the House of the Browns or whichever it is, and it's just like I feel like even the cast of Good Times would be like, "Wow, this is over the top." Even JJ's like, pull it in a little bit. Like it's so, which I don't have a problem with that style of comedy, but when that's the only show currently, that was the only type of black show on TBS, and you feel like white people in the country who aren't friends with black people are watching this, and they're thinking that's what black people are like.
They think they're going to go to some black friend's house and it's going to be the house of pain.
Exactly, like, you know, and I mean the commercials for like the Meet the Browns, it's like the dude in all the colored clothes and he's falling around and it's catchphrases that black people, yeah, girl, and he falls over at one point and says barbecue, and that's the commercial, and you're like, that doesn't help me. There's many examples of that in pop culture. A couple years ago when the dude who's in Iron Man, who everybody loves,
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. did the movie where he was in blackface, and I live in San Francisco, where San Francisco has 6% black people, and I would be waiting for, as a black man with facial hair and an afro, I'm waiting for the bus, and there's a big poster of Robert Downey Jr. with an afro and facial hair, and I can't help but feel like this is not a good representation of me in a city that's 6% black. Like, I shouldn't have to wait for the bus and have a picture of blackface next to me.
I'll tell you what, Kamau. After talking to you, I'm very curious about your show. So, so I think mission accomplished.
Well, thank you. See, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, I'm going to be in New York doing it for with the Solo Nova Festival from May 11th through May 22nd. And like I said, and I will be back in LA doing it again in the fall. And if you bring a friend of a different race, you'll get in 2 for 1. All
right, sounds good. And is there a website people can go to check it out?
You can go to my website, and you can go to wkamaubell.com, which is hard to spell, or, and this will be a challenge for some people out there, you can go to goodshownegro.com.
All right, well, that's easy to remember at least.
It is. It's easy to remember, but it's harder to type. So, you really get to, you can learn how to spell Kamau, or you can type goodshownegro.com, and you can get to all the website dates and get to ticket sales.
All right, that sounds great. Kamau, thanks so much for coming on the Young Turks. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It was fun.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.